What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. I just want to focus in on the the issue of fighting in hockey. Obviously, George Parros getting a serious concussion last night, hit his head against the ice, and steps the NHL has taken a cut back on fighting. And the way the OHL has really stepped up and how it wants to, cut back on fighting. There are always going to be those people that are adamantly. First of all, I don't think it'll ever leave the game, and I think that's part of the beauty of the game is, you have a disagreement with someone, you punch them in the head a couple times, and you sit in the penalty box for 5 minutes. That's kind of what makes hockey so attractive to, blue-collar fans, and I understand, no other sport does it, it's savagery, it's all this, but the bottom line is, it's something unique to hockey, and I understand people that say, well, such and such is unique to a sport and that got taken away, because of safety, and I understand that. But, fighting is two willing combatants. If two people want to throw down, then, you know what? And if you take fighting out of the game, there's going to be more stick infractions, which means, you have a say if you want to drop the gloves and get punched in the head. You don't have a say if someone whacks you over the head with a stick. That's... And I just think it's funny that, most of the cheap shot artists, principally Ulf Samuelsson, really didn't like to throw down. I mean, I think fighting is an honest... It wasn't like banning boxing. I mean, I understand that they're two different entities, but, if you're going to say, because it encourages violence and all this stuff, I mean, I think it's funny what Don Cherry, people attack him for his stance on fighting hockey, but he said, Matt Cook throwing a shoulder into someone's head while it's down, that's violence in hockey. Two guys disagreeing, throwing down and cooling off, blowing off steam for 5 minutes. That's not, it is what it is. And I can understand taking steps to promote player safety, but at the same time, where are we going to be as a society if everything that could be violent gets taken away? I just think it's unfortunate. I think we're oversensitizing something. I hope George Parros is all right. He's class personified and definitely one of the just general nice guys in the league that's very well liked throughout circles of hockey. A friend of my family played at Princeton with his brother and knew him a little bit and said him and his family could not be nicer people, and really shows in his charitable endeavors and everything he's done off the ice to promote the game. And I also respect the angle Steve Yzerman took in an interview today. Yzerman's against fighting hockey, and I obviously respect that. I would never go against one of the greatest players and arguably the greatest leader of all time, but I disagree with him. I just think that's, if you look at it through a blue collar fan like I was growing up. You grow up in middle class neighborhood. You identify with guys that go to work every day, the guys like the Sean Thorntons and the PJ Stocks of the world that I grew up rooting for and loving. Their job was to protect the skill guys and open up time and space. Much the same way. Like the grind lines of the Red Wings: McCarty, Maltby, Draper, Lapointe. And Prober, perfect example. Even before the Yzerman Stanley Cup days. I just think. There's a place for it. There'll always be a place for it. And I think this argument will go away sooner rather than later. And, I respect the opinions against it, but I just think there's so many, just these nonviolent hippies that love the game. And I hate to criticize a group like that, but, you're doing too much to adapt the game to modern society, and unfortunately, I think you'd lose a lot of the ambiance if you took that out. And I know I saw a tweet by Rick Tocchet today that said it'll be more dangerous without fighting because players are more apt to take liberties on other players, and human nature isn't in place. So we'll see what happens. But my thing is, I'm pro fighting, but I'm also pro player safety. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, keep reiterating, seeing what happens, because the NHL could come down with some BS rule tomorrow. You never know, right? Especially with Batman calling the shots. Anyway, that's the last episode of the Power Play with CJ on the issue of fighting in hockey. Stay tuned for episodes throughout the season and beyond. Later, guys.